Hi guys, it's Rita here from Picked and Polished, where I love to help you create beautiful things for your home, sell in your business, and inspire others in DIY workshops. And tonight, actually the whole month of June, I'm going to be with you guys going live every Sunday evening at 8:30, sharing my passion for repurposing. So let me know if you guys are here and if this feed is working okay so we can get rocking and rolling with our project tonight. Hi, Catherine. Thanks for hopping on, you guys. So I've got a really fun project that I've been waiting to share with you guys. I've been waiting for like the right time to do it. And we are going to be for the whole month of June, like I said before. Hi, Lori. So if you guys are on here, say hi. Definitely share this video so other people can see it and so that I can create more how-to videos for you for free on my Facebook page. Happy beautiful Sunday. I know finally, you guys, it's beautiful here in New Hampshire, and we were soaking up the sun all weekend. My 7-year-old had her birthday this weekend, and it's just been a great weekend. So I hope you guys are enjoying it too. And hi, Kristen. Hi, Melody. Oh, yeah, you guys are all on with me tonight. This is awesome. So tonight we're going to do some repurposing, and we're going to be focusing on repurposing for the whole month of June, every Sunday night at 8:30. This could be a whole lot of fun, right? So hi, Maria. Hi, Kristen. Hi, Rima. So I had this beautiful Barnwood frame, and I've used it for a long time. It's been one of my favorite things in my house, but it's time for a change. I want to switch it up a little bit. It's one of my fresh pickings from a long time ago. So hi, Jane. How are you? So this is a beautiful Barnwood frame, and you know what, you guys, you can find these a lot of times in thrift stores, at yard sales with like maybe not so desirable artwork in them if it's something that you don't love or, you know, whatever. So sometimes while you're out peeking around and going to flea markets and vintage markets and all those awesome things this season, sorry, I've got mosquitoes in here tonight. I forgot to shut my screen, so it's a little bit buggy. I just want to show you one awesome thing you can do with any wood frame that you find this summer. If you're out junking or thrifting like I like to do, these are like amazing. I've got this one here, and then I also have another one that I'll be doing something different with. Let me show you that one too. I'll be doing something different with this on probably on a different live, not tonight, but this is a nice one too. This one had like some old artwork in it, which was cool, but really not my style. Hi, Kim. So we're definitely going to be doing something fun with this. And what I'm going to be showing you guys tonight, what I'm going to be teaching you too, will be something you can transfer to a lot of different projects. So I'm going to be using this old frame, and I'm going to be turning my camera down tonight so you can really see what I'm working on. I had somebody give me some really good feedback about that recently. So I'm going to try to make sure you guys can see what I'm doing better. I've got these, all right, so these guys, these boards, these slat boards, okay, just want to show you these. We're going to be using these with that frame tonight, and these are on one side, so they're tongue and groove. They go together like so. They just kind of slide together, although I put some paint and some, let's just do it this way. Some paint and some glaze on these ends, so they probably won't fit as well, but they slide together pretty easily. So my husband and I buy these slatted pieces of wood by the bundle, and we're actually renovating our entire home ceiling with these planks. So you can use these on like backsplashes and ceilings, and we're going to be doing a blog post this summer about how we've redone our ceiling. We had those like 1970s square tiles foam tiles up on our, I know, isn't this amazing? On our ceiling, and we wanted an affordable way to do it ourselves, and drywall just wasn't in the cards for us. And drywall is super dusty and messy, and so this was a totally great way for us to redo our ceiling. You know, it's only, I think you can buy these they come in 8-foot length. They come in a package of, I don't know how many, but the package is like $17, and you get 14 square feet of total square feet in that package. So so yeah, I feel like it's a pretty simple do-it-yourself project, especially if you have a lot of strapping in your ceiling. But tonight we're going to be using this on a frame, and you could do this with any frame, as long as it has a little bit of an inset, or even if you wanted to lay it across the back of a frame. And I'm going to be teaching you some tips and tricks on how to use this stuff, because with any type of wood, it expands and contracts during the different seasons, right? We know in the summer it's going to take on more water and expand a little bit. In the winter, it's going to contract a little bit and loosen up. And so when you're building or creating with things like this, you kind of have to always have that in the back of your mind. And I've made some mistakes in the past. Hi, Gary. Hi, Catherine. So I've made some mistakes in the past. So I'm hoping to share some tips with you tonight that will help you avoid some of the things I've done before using this stuff. But it's super easy to use, very lightweight. One of the things my husband and I wanted to tell you too, when he was cutting this earlier, I was talking to him about how sometimes when you cut super thin wood like this on a miter saw or a chop saw, you want to make sure that you've got a sharp blade for one. You want to make sure, first of all, you've got safety goggles on and whatever protection you need for that saw. But also, when you're cutting thin wood, sometimes it can snap back at you if your saw blade isn't going at a good speed and you don't go down. You want to go get your blade going really, really fast. And then you pull down, and when you pull down, you go through the wood kind of slowly. And that'll avoid as much snapping and flapping around that sometimes thin wood will do that when you're cutting it on a chop saw or miter saw. So there's a little cutting tip for you. And sometimes we'll even stack the pieces of wood and cut them at once. But if you do that, be like 1,000% sure that you have the right size. Because if you cut a bunch of pieces at once and they're the wrong size, then that's a lot of a wasted material. So Diane said I made my kitchen backsplash out of that material, chalk painted and waxed it. Yes. So you can use this for a billion different projects, you guys, and it's so easy to cut and manipulate. So this is what we're going to be using for the frame tonight. I've got a couple different samples I made. I'm going to be doing some glazing tonight with you guys also, because I just feel like this really lends itself to glazing. So we're going to be using the flat side. So let me get these back together here. We're going to be using the flat side of, whoops, hold on. Bear with me. All this sunshine is making me lose my focus. So we're going to be doing it this way instead of this way. The reason being is I want to make mine into a sign. So if I were to put stencil vinyl over all these different cracks, crevices, crooks, and crannies, it would be harder for me to stencil. So I'm just going to use the more flat side on behind my frame tonight. But if I were using this like decoratively, hi Beth, and I wanted to hang maybe some like chalk painted mason jars from the frame, which I've done many times before, and have this just be my background, I would have the beadboard side showing probably, just because it's so pretty. You could do, you know, alternating colors. You could do all the same color. You could, this is a great project for glazing, and that's why I'm going to do glazing with you guys tonight on this. So I don't want to keep you guys waiting. We're going to dive right into the fun stuff. We're actually going to be doing some glazing and some whitewashing. So I have all of my pieces here. You guys can see. Pull my camera down here. So I have all of my pieces here. I've pre-painted them, and I used the color Manatee Gray or Manatee by Dixie Belle. It's a chalk mineral paint, which is, you can get any of these products using my link above to my website, pickedandpolishedblog.com. Hi, Amara. Hi, Jacqueline. Hi, Molly. You guys are all on here tonight. So if you're catching me live, you'll see the little red button up in the corner. If I'm on replay, hashtag replay, so I know you were here. So I was just saying, I buy these planks of wood by 8 foot. They're 8 feet long. I buy them in a package, and it covers about 14 square feet. And the package costs about $17, and I think we get them at Lowe's. And so I painted them in the Manatee Gray, and then I went over them with the Satin Clear Coat by Dixie Belle. You could also use Gator Hide Flat Clear Coat or the Gloss Clear Coat. The reason why I clear coated these tonight is because I want to do glaze over them, and I want to be able to wipe off a lot of the glaze. And so if I want like a super grungy look, it's okay for me not to clear coat, but if I want to be able to manipulate the glaze a little bit more, I always do a clear coat after I paint so that when I add the glaze, this is the Van Dyke Glaze by Dixie Belle, that I'll be able to manipulate it a little bit more easily, okay? So let me know if you guys have questions because I can see your comments even though you can't see my face. You can see my eyes. Hi, Cindy. Hi, Diane. Oh, you're having a bad storm. I'm sorry, BB. Nuts. Yes, the new metallics are coming out with Dixie Belle. I'm really excited. I'm going live next week, I think on Monday night, to share one of those with you guys too. To share one of their new products. All right, so I've got all these out. You can see they're tongue and groove. They go together. So I'm going to go ahead and they're dry. The glaze has been done and they just snap together like this. Okay, they can slide together, they can snap together. And remember, you know, in the summer, they're gonna expand a little bit and in the winter, they're gonna contract a little bit. So you wanna make sure when you paint these that you've really got a lot of paint in these cracks after they're together, because if they pull apart at all, sometimes I'll do like a light layer, like while they're apart, I'll do like a light layer of paint right here, because if they pull apart at all during the winter, I don't want that raw wood to show. So I'll give a little bit of overlap of paint, but not so much that it's so thick that I can't slide them together. Does that make sense? So yes, BB, you can order paints from me I'm not a premier retailer, so as soon as they're available, I'll have them on my website. Yep, absolutely. And I'll let you guys know too. Oops, and those would be included in the deal you guys get with me in the DIY Decor Makers group this month. Any of those metallic paints would be included in that sale. So, all right, so I'm just gonna slide these together. Hi, Beth. Aw, how was your birthday? I know, Beth, you just had a birthday too. I just missed that comment. I hope everything's okay. I'll go back and check and see. All right. I'll check in with you after this live, Beth, and shoot you a message. All right, so I've got this going on. They're all together. If I wanted to touch up, I could, but this is going to be sort of a rustic finish. I'm going to do some... This one here is cotton with the Van Dyke glaze over it, okay? This one is the manatee gray with the Van Dyke glaze here, and then this one has the Van Dyke glaze and a little bit of a whitewash over it. So I think I'm going to do a little bit of both because I want there to be a contrast between the Barnwood frame and the color that I'm using. I don't want it to blend into the frame. I want it to be like a little bit contrasting. So I'm going to give this a go. All right, so we're going to start out with the glaze, and I'm going to show you how I do that. And then from there, we're going to use some of the whitewash, okay? And you can see how I kind of layer the two. I really like to do things in layers. Any of you guys that have been following me for any length of time know that already about me, so... Yes, and Dixie Belle also makes a whitewash glaze. I just make my own, and I'll show you how to do that when I'm done with the Van Dyke glaze. So right now I'm using a water-based Van Dyke glaze. I'm just gonna go over the whole surface, and this is what's gonna be the background of my, Barnwood frame. So anytime you're using glaze, just remember that glaze sits in the low points. Wax, on the other hand, hits your high points because this is a liquid, right? So we know it's going to sit in those lower areas. I've dampened my sponge just a tiny bit. If you're doing like kitchen cabinets or something like that and you want a super smooth glazed finish, I would recommend using a smoother sponge like the blue sponge they carry, something with a little bit smoother surface, whereas this one's a little bit bumpy. It's gonna not give such a smooth finish. But I'm okay with that because I want it to be rustic. So that's fine with me. So I've got a little fingerprint there. All right, so the glaze is wiping off pretty easily because I did the clear coat first. Okay, so I'm gonna keep cruising. Just keep adding the glaze. You guys can't see that, but keep adding the glaze here. Okay. And then wiping it off as I go. And if your sponge is a little bit damp, you'll have a little bit more play with the glaze as well. Okay. So there we go. There's that. I'm just going to keep going with this. And then when this is dry, I'll go over it with a whitewash. And then I'll show you how to inset it into a frame. And this is a project you guys can do with so many things. I mean, this type of wood is just really easy to work with. Easy to cut. As long as your blade is going fast and you cut it slowly, you're going to be just fine. Make sure you're wearing protective gear, which I'm sometimes guilty of, sometimes guilty of not doing. All right, so put that together. All right, just going to keep going. And you'll see how quick and easy projects like this really are to do. Got kind of an earthy, you know, the manatee gray, which is the base color, is definitely a blue-based gray. It's got a hint of blue to it, I would say. But with this over it, you know, you can't, it really tones that down. Just gonna slide this in. Now, normally I would have glued these and let them set overnight, but this will be fine for what we're doing. It's a little bit different when you're working with these and you're doing like a home improvement project. And Jason and I are definitely going to be doing a blog post this summer when he's off from teaching about how we're renovating our ceiling using these planks. So I painted these beforehand, and I would recommend that too, that you paint the planks before you you know, put them in the frame, just because it's just easier. It's just easier overall. Let me know if you guys have any questions. These are, so Roxy, these are from Lowe's. They come in packages in 8-foot lengths. Package of, it's like $17 and it covers 14 square feet. All right, so there's that. I'm gonna go ahead and it's pretty much dry, but I'm just gonna quickly run my hair dryer over this, and then I'm gonna show you how I mix a little bit of whitewash, okay? All right, so it's water-based, again, the glaze, so it dries super quick. It makes it really, really easy to work with. So I've got a little bit of paint in here in my cup, and I'm gonna go ahead and add some water. I don't know, maybe 50, not quite 50-50. Let's see, I'm gonna stir it up good. And then just gonna stir it up. You guys can see that. All right, now I've got like a nice whitewash going on here. I want some of this to show, but remember that I want it also to contrast my frame enough. So I don't want it to be the exact same color as my Barnwood frame. So that whitewash is gonna give it like another level of dimension and depth here. So I'm just gonna keep stirring up my mixture. It's just like about, I would say, I don't know, it's not 2/3, maybe 2/3 to 1/3, maybe a little more water than that. You can just kind of play around with it, or actually I would recommend you just buy the Dixie Belle whitewash glaze, because then you're not messing around with the ratios. And that has a little bit of clear coat in it, which will give you a little bit of durability too. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and take my chip brush, my premium chip brush, which has been well loved, as you can see. I was using the large synthetic flat, which I love. I can't live without this. That is like an amazing brush, you guys. All right, so it's nice and stirred now. I'm gonna go ahead and take it, and I'm just gonna test it out and see how I like it. I can always add a little bit of water. Let me just pull this back a little bit. I want you to be able to see what I'm doing here. So I'm just gonna add it there, and then I'm going to wipe it off. So I kind of like that there's like brown in the crevices, like a little bit of brown, a little bit of white. Yes, Teresa, you can definitely watch from the beginning. I explained what kind of wood I was using and where you can find it and how a billion other projects you can do with this type of wood. And now I'm just doing like a quick whitewash, like I made my own whitewash to go over this. And I'm just taking a paper towel and kind of wiping it off. I'm gonna add a little more here, but you can see, you just kind of have to play around with it. But I definitely want some of that Van Dyke glaze, the Van Dyke brown glaze showing in the crevices. So I'm gonna let that push those together here. I'm gonna pull this over. And I'm just a fan of using lots of layers of color, just because I feel like it just adds just that, I don't know, just adds something special to it. So I'm kind of avoiding the cracks a little bit because I still want some of where the Van Dyke glaze has settled to show in there. So it gives it like a nice, you can still see some of that in those areas. Like right here, you can tell, right here. I go ahead with a little bit more of the wash, the paint wash. And just kind of go right over those boards. Move my board so you guys can see what I'm doing. Like that. And then again, I would recommend probably, if you have a lint-free cloth handy, I would use that. But I'm just using my my paper towel here. And you can see I kind of went overboard. See how here there's like a nice definition with the Van Dyke glaze, and here there isn't, right here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go in with a small brush. No big deal. This is why I love doing these type of techniques, because you can always go back and touch up. And now I just want a little bit of definition in those cracks. So I'm gonna take a nice pointed brush here and just go in here. You want to make sure that the white is dry probably. Otherwise it's just going to make like a muddy brown. It's not going to be super dark. So if this isn't dry enough yet, I'm going to have to dry it and then go in with the glaze. See here, I'm just kind of following the lines and adding a little bit, and then I'll go back and I'll wipe some off. You don't have to be like a perfect, you don't have to have super, super good, fine detail, techniques down to do this. You can just kind of go for it. And I'm just going to wipe, and then it's going to leave some of that behind. I'm going to take a cleaner cloth here. Just going to leave some of that Van Dyke brown behind, which is exactly what I want, because I want those cracks to be sort of defined a little bit more. And I think I can definitely throw my dryer on this real quick, so close your ears. Little bit more of the Van Dyke glaze in those cracks, and then I think I'm ready to show you what it looks like in the frame. Just gonna go ahead and touch those up just a little bit. So the Van Dyke wasn't that dark because I still had some of that whitewash was still wet underneath. So it was turning into like a muddy brown instead of like a richer brown. So then I'll go through and wipe off the excess. And that's why you guys shouldn't be afraid of using glaze, because honestly, especially if you're using clear coat first, you can really, it's very forgiving in a lot of ways. I mean, I think it's scary for some people at first, because it's not as easy to control maybe as the wax, but if you're using it, there we go, that's better. If you're using it with, and I'm just going to go over with a little bit more white here. If you're using it with clear coat if you do the painting and then you do the clear coat, you might be surprised because you can wipe off quite a bit of that with, look at that, isn't that yummy? You can wipe off quite a bit of that with like even a baby wipe or, you know, a damp towel. So it's, you know, you can play around with it and see, you know, you could do it in layers. If you're afraid you're going to get it too dark with the first pass, you can definitely go back and do layers. But how pretty is that, right? And it still looks rustic, but it's also going to contrast the frame. So I'm going to go ahead and set that down. Let me put my brushes in water real quick. So say hi if you guys are watching tonight. I'm so glad you're here with me. Definitely share this video if you have a chance, because then I get to create more free tutorials for you guys. And every Sunday evening at 8:30 the month of June, I'm doing all picked and refinished and repurposed projects. Okay, so here's the back of my frame, right? Do you see how there's like an inlay there? Hold on, it's like moving a pizza because it's not glued together and it's kind of wobbly and not reinforced. So just gonna move this behind me for now. So the back of this had like a picture in it, okay? And now I want to inlay my my wood. So I'll show you how I do that, but I'm going to pull back my camera just a little bit so you can get a bigger frame of reference. Hold on. My flabby arms are in the camera. Okay. So, hi Stacy. Yes, this is a super easy, fun project. Just think about all the frames you're going to find this summer when you're thrifting and junking and going to flea markets. So this is the back, this is the front, okay? So let's say the back of your frame doesn't have these little tabs. You can definitely add a little bead of wood glue. You can tap some really, really fine finishing nails in to kind of take the place of these little tabs. You could, I hesitate to say use a nailer because the thinness, this is only like a 1/4 inch thick. So using my nailer, I don't have a nail that would not go through to the other side. I think the smallest nail in a nail gun is like a 1/2 inch. So I could be wrong, but I think so. So I'm just gonna do this instead. And look how pretty. Hold on a second. I gotta get, it's like carrying a pizza pie. Hold on. So look how pretty this is gonna be, right? And this is just the manatee gray, and then I did a clear coat. I did the Van Dyke glaze, and then we did a little bit of a homemade whitewash with fluff and water. Not the fluff you eat, the fluff Dixie Belle fluff. My kids would think I would be talking about the fluff I eat. Okay, so now I'm just gonna set it in here. Of course, this seems easy when I'm not doing this on camera. But they all fit together. They still, like, even if it flops around, they still slide together pretty easily. And you want to definitely cut your boards to size beforehand, right? Just make sure they're all even Steven. And then I make sure all my little tabs are pulled all the way back so that they're not going to get in the way of my boards. And that this will slide in nicely. And if you don't have these little metal tabs, you can just use nails, But one thing I will say about this wood is remember that it will expand and contract in the different seasons. So if I don't have, and this is something I learned, I've made some signs with these boards before, and if I don't have the nails, one nail on each side of each little plank, they tend to bow, especially when it gets humid, because the wood will expand a little bit. So just kind of keep that in mind, that if you're making a sign or doing something like that with like a loose frame like this, that you're definitely going to want to stabilize each plank left and right, left and right, left and right, left and right, left and right. So that when, and same thing with the top and bottom, like a few inches apart, so that when the wood changes throughout the seasons, it's not going to bow and create problems with the wood. So I'm just going to go ahead and push down my little doodads, and it looks like they're missing on this side, so I'll, on this side, so I'll probably have to go in and add some little tiny little finishing nails to kind of hold that in place. I could definitely use wood glue and clamps if I wanted to. But since this is mostly just like it's just going to be a decorative piece, I'm not like overly worried about it. So let's see how we're doing here. Ooh la la. Okay. So what do you guys think? Let me hold up my camera. Okay. So now look, right? Isn't that so pretty? So now you can see, like, I love that the dark glaze is in the cracks, because it gives it, like, it definitely you can tell that it's separate pieces of wood. And it was so easy to do, you guys, right? And you could buy a pack of these. Remember, they come in 8-foot length. So I don't even remember how many, like, I can't do the math, but they're like 4 inches wide-ish, 8 foot long, and you get a big package of them for $17. And this is what we're doing on our ceiling. You could do this as a backsplash, so many things you could do this with. So be on the lookout, okay, for some really pretty frames this summer while you're yard sailing or, you know, going to thrift shops or whatever. And I want to make this into a sign, so that's why I picked the wider, like, shiplap sort of size on this side. But if I were to hang some, you know, you can buy hooks that come out, and you can hang mason jars with flowers. And if I were to do that, I think I would have done the more beadboard style side on the back with more of the grooves like this. Hold on. Because it just would have felt like, this is obviously 2 different colors, but it would have felt more decorative. And this is, I think I painted this board in cotton, and then I went over it with a Van Dyke glaze. So there's just so many possibilities with just a couple of supplies. And if you're a business owner, oh my gosh, the amount of workshops or projects you could make for vintage markets or to sell this summer are really endless with this technique. I mean, you can mix it up in a million different ways. So, right? I know, so pretty. Can you guys see the mosquitoes that are flying around in here? I left my screen open, and that's the problem. So I will definitely be posting a picture of this when I have all the lettering done. I'm thinking black font would be really, really pretty. And I do love that if I had left it like that gray, I feel like it wouldn't have contrasted enough. So I hope you guys love the project. Dana, don't worry about it. You can go back and watch anytime. You know that, my friend. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Only like the second part of our recycling, repurposing, picking and polishing series for the month of June. And definitely share with someone that you think might enjoy this video too. So thank you guys for watching. If you're looking for any of these products that I used tonight, you can go to my website, pickedandpolishedblog.com, and click on the link above, and you can click on products, and it'll take you to all my Dixie Belle products in my shop. So free shipping on $75 or more as well. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful night. Thank you for joining me. Enjoy the rest of your week. And those of you in the DIY Decor Makers group, I'll see you on Tuesday for our super fun June project, okay? Bye, guys.